Welcome to the May 2012 edition of Kula's online teacher feature. This month we're sitting down with Chris Eliades, who is now teaching more classes at Kula than anybody else. Nice. And is also playing with our resident dog, Cash. Where are you, Cash? There he is. Sorry about that, making you a little nauseous if you're watching right now. So, welcome, Chris. Thanks so much for carving out the time, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Definitely. And my hope is just to give everybody like a little bit of a sense of, what you're about, just kind of meeting you a little bit more than they can by reading your bio, and also just to give them a sense about your practice and your teaching practice, and a little bit of a description of the classes that you're leading here at Kula. So maybe just to start, could you give everybody a sense of your entrance into practicing yoga and how that ultimately led into teaching?
Sure. Well, my practice to yoga actually started off, it's kind of like most people, it was like an accidental thing. Just hanging out with some friends, and they were taking a yoga class, and I jumped aboard, and from there I left the class and just loved it. Instantly realized this was something that I had been missing and wanted to pursue it further. Didn't have the opportunity at that point in time to pursue it, and when I finally did, I dove in all the way. Definitely the deep end of the pool.
It's cool. That sounds like a good blog, like Chris Eliades, the accidental yogi. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody go from not practicing to the level of depth of where you're at in such a short period of time. It's been pretty remarkable to witness.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was one of those, every single time I came here with every class I took, I felt like I learned something, I accomplished something, I helped somebody, and all those things, bringing them together is truly what makes me happy. And to have that experience every day it's awesome. It's an amazing, incredible experience.
Awesome. And so you took the plunge to teach.
Yeah, so that was a decision that I had thought about for a little while. I guess it couldn't have been that long because it's only been about a year and a half or two that I've been practicing. But it was about 8 months into it I started wanting to teach, and I kind of already started teaching. I just didn't have the training. So I took the Transcendent training, and from there I just really dove a lot deeper into the practice, got into more of the philosophy of yoga, and some of what the true essence of yoga really is, as far as trying to teach from your heart and really staying present in the moment.
Awesome. And so now you're teaching a few different classes. Could you give people a sense of the different ones that you're offering? 2 of them are on the schedule now, and then as this video is released with our newsletter, we're going to announce 2 more classes. One that's going to be a kind of a group effort of a few different Kula teachers. You want to start there? Because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so pretty much a group of teachers and myself have gotten together, and we all have kind of like a specialty, you should say, of an activity that has a lot of challenges to the activities, but at the same time they have a tendency to kind of bring you back to stillness. Everything is always coming back to stillness. Essentially, what we're trying to do is find distilling stillness of your mind through action, through movement. And a lot of it is through slacklining, hula hooping, also practicing yoga on paddle boards and swings, different things like that. So with our
acro too?
Yeah, and acro yoga as well we're starting to get into. A little bit more among the teaching group of it as opposed to actually teaching it, but more and more as we get comfortable with our practice, we'll definitely incorporate more elements of that as well.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it's a group we're called Alternative Movement, and it's a group of yoga teachers that have gotten together and really want to inspire people through our practices to help challenge themselves, not only with their yoga practice on the mat, but taking what they've learned on the mat and bringing it out into their everyday life, whether it be activities such as paddleboarding or even grocery shopping, like anything where you're finding movement and you're trying to work through action and then trying to come back to your heart and finding stillness in your mind, and also creating an awareness of the community for environmental issues as well. Something that we're very into.
So alternative movement is the class. It's going to be Thursdays at 3 o'clock, is that right?
Yeah, from 3 o'clock to 4:30.
Cool. And the other teachers?
So the other teachers are Elizabeth Bond, Meredith McCarthy, Kim
DePasquale, yeah. Jen Wallace.
Jen Wallace.
Yeah.
And Josh Davis.
Cool. So it's like a whole tribe of teachers.
Yeah, it's a whole group of us, and we all have something unique to offer. As to where, like, I was working on the paddleboards the other day, and Kim's got a beautiful paddleboard practice, and just to like take some of the advice and things that she has to offer, and then incorporating that with my slackline practice, or even on the yoga mat, and the same thing with hula hooping, like finding stillness of your mind to actually achieve these things, because a lot of it, like I'm sitting there with a hula hoop and it's not something that I feel like I can accomplish, but through practice and devotion, eventually I'll find that stillness and have a beautiful, graceful hoop practice as well.
Awesome. And then you're also the kids teacher, one of the for the older group, right?
Yeah, so I teach, it started off as the 9 to 12-year-olds, but I think it's actually got a few 8-year-olds, and there's a 13-year-old that came once or twice as well. So the age kind of varies. It kind of depends on where the kids are at. But we definitely would invite anybody that is interested to come and partake with the class. It's really something that I find interesting to see where the kids like to go with the class. So I pretty much have a guide, and I just let them be inventive and create a lot of the space that we're working in. And whatever it may be, some days I have kids that sit down and they ask me, can you teach me to meditate? And it's like, absolutely, yeah, sure. And then the other days, I got kids that are doing back bends, back walkovers all the way across the room. So it's kind of fun to see where that's going. And I really love teaching the kids classes. It helps me stay in tune with my inner child as well. And I feel like to look through life under the lens of a child is priceless. So
yeah, well said. And the alternative movement class, that's open to kids too to come? I know they want to always play with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's open to kids as well as adults. It doesn't matter where their practice is. What we hope to do is meet you where you're at, and then from there develop these skills. And it could be, it's definitely going to be stepping outside of people's comfort zones, but I feel like that's really where the growth happens, is
exactly
when you kind of step outside the box a little bit.
And then YouTube will only allow us one more minute, so and I guess fairly quickly the other class, Yin Yang Fusion, you're doing Thursdays at 7 a.m., but we're adding on May 16th, yes. Wednesday night, a new class Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. That's a Yin Yang Fusion as well. So what is that about?
So it's going to pretty much meet the students where they're at as far as they're coming in from their daily lives, coming together on the mat, finding a practice together, and then from there leaving that space together. And the practice is probably going to start off with more yin, holding the postures for 3 to 5 minutes, then moving into a more energetic yang practice.
In the morning, you're saying?
Yes.
And then in the evening it reverses?
Yeah, that way. And then in the afternoon it'll be kind of reverse. We'll come in with a little bit more energy, and then from there tone it down and hopefully have a nice calming, relaxing shavasana.
So thank you, man.